What is going on, people? Welcome. Johnny here, and we are going to pick up with Gotrik in a minute. Just give you a little preview of where things go, and say thanks for all the likes and the comments. All that jazz. If you're into this Rimhammer mod series, make sure you're on the Discord and checking out the whip, because the orcs are coming along beautifully, along with the goblins. So, without further ado, let's jump in. We're short on wood, and we do have a wild woman over there. So we're working on getting some of those supplies together. We're still bringing in all this hay, because we do have a fair number of horses, and I guess that makes good sense too. We're mining, so there's chunks around, the usual. We do have that wild person step on a trap and get himself downed. We're going to try and rescue again. That's worked the last 2 times with the wild people. You don't even have to tame them. You just bring them in, nurse them back to health, and they join up. So we're still working on the tailoring room and the research room. There's fires nearby, but nothing of any consequence. Blackstone has to deal with a mad deer here, but Hayes is around to help out. Hayes better break camp before he gets assaulted. He ends up in a fist to fist. All right, let's go fist to hoof battle with this dude. But with his trusty staff, he does manage to bring it down. We do end up building a barn. It's a place to get these animals safe and sound, and at least have somewhere to go and keep the hay from rotting. So that's been a priority for me for some time, just not very high. This many pawns around. We're doing fantastic in terms of getting shit accomplished. Grungerson over there, he's still recovering, but I'll give you a sneak preview. He doesn't end up joining, so we send him on his way as soon as he's capable of walking again. And you do that by deconstructing the bed he's in. We're going to start doing some more mining in various directions just to see if there's any more A, open space, B, resources. We still are sitting on 859 gold, and the whole purpose of this playthrough is to get 1,000,000 gold. Alright, so this fella can pretty much... Now we're going to try and tame, but it doesn't work, so we send him walking after we set the tame command. I don't think we still have the skill to do it. Hayes is a 6, that's the best we got, so... We run Hyena out. She's going to have to... we do find something during our mining, too. We're actually chasing Grunges, so we thought he was going to step on some traps, but we opened the door for him. So anyways, see him out and on his merry way. Open space found over here, which, I don't know, we'll need to plant some plants or something eventually, so it's probably a good thing to keep that about. Also, we can plant mushrooms in there, or any of the dwarven stuff that you can grow in the dark will grow fantastically well if we rip those spaces over. So Gotrik still smoothing floors. There's a caravan shows up from the Empire of Man, just cruising through a pack of will-o'-the-wisps there, which don't seem to be too intimidating. I'm doing a fair amount of mining on the outside too, looking for resources and just trying to keep the miners busy. They've run out of work several times. Some of them don't do much else, so there's nothing we can do with that trader. We don't have money. They don't want to buy anything from us, so we're just kind of boned in that regard. We have a tall order here in terms of getting all the smoothing done. More trolls show up around that time as well. There's a rotten minotaur that for some reason we didn't butcher, laying over there where the dead animals go. The predators are taking out some of these gazelle, which is going to be useful for us in terms of keeping the food supplies up. We also find some different type of stone, diorite, which will make white buildings if we use it to make dwarven buildings. Of course, those trolls that showed up recently are going to bring themselves inside. And they do step on our traps and destroy them. Keeping wood on hand is going to be a challenge, I foresee. But some of those trolls are injured. I debate for a while on whether I should go over there and do something about them. In the meantime, we are hunting gazelle wide open, as you can see by the pile of gazelle. Stone Shield pisses off one of the trolls, and Cutthrum runs out to help. So Stone Shield's boogieing around, trying to get away. We decided to take them out, and it didn't go so well with the rifle, so I had to revert to the old-fashioned crack him in the head maneuver. Cuthram, though, being a decent fighter, having a great weapon, is able to hold it up until Stone Shield can shoot it down. And more meat is on the plate at that point. Another troll dies on the traps, of course. All this meat's likely gonna rot, as that's what's happening to most of the meat that we have. A convict named Kaza arrives and wants to join. So why not? He's got a cool... He's a jealous bloodluster. He does have a cool dwarven engineering eye patch thing on, which will improve his working abilities, aiming abilities, I should say, if we give him a ranged weapon. I have tattered apparel on Hayes. I keep making more and more wizard's clothes, and other people keep putting it on by the end of this episode anyway. So we'll get going on actually accomplishing that here. I decided to start planting some dwarven fungal plank, so we can really squeeze those plants in here, and that'll give us a ton of wood. You can hear a ton of mining. It's high time we got some food storage set up in a spot where for some reason I'm going to expose it to the outside, mostly out of habit, because I'm used to being able to leverage cold winters, but that really isn't going to apply here. So it's like kind of a stupid idea, in all honesty. I've built some braziers around as well. More stuff we're going to need to fuel with wood, unfortunately. We are short on food storage space. We're also going to expand the cooking area. We need more room. Get in there. If we ever do get a second decent cook, it would be nice to be able to get them to work. Just then, all four of those will-o'-the-wisps decide to go mad, and whatever. They're not a threat. We butcher them. You don't get anything for them. We build a bunch of shelves in the new food storage room. Eventually, we'll block that off and put a freezing statue in there, should we be able to encounter one. Or maybe we'll get a pawn that has the ability to make a freezing vortex that'll keep that frozen for a good long while. We're finished mining out, expanding the feasting hall. There is a lot of smoothing to do, though. That's pretty much the theme of any Dwarven in the mountain playthrough. I, at this far, haven't built up a massive quantity of bricks, or else I'd just start putting in floors rather than smoothing. We start slaughtering chickens wide open, but I do keep them around. They're making a ton of eggs, and they reproduce like crazy, so why not? At that point, we finish the next level of research. We get on to making dwarven armor. We do end up taking quite a beating periodically here. I'm going to bring in some of these dead animals and butcher them up. We don't really want the meat off the chaos spawn, but the hide is worth something. We do have a troll sleeping outside. He did self-tame, and he'll make his way in eventually. We had a muffalo that we brought down too via hunting. It's hard to keep the meat in stock when it spoils so fast, and it's also very warm all the time. Right around 70 at the moment. We've had disease after disease striking as well. This one's malaria, but the dwarves are very hardy. They seem to recover just fine with no issue. You'd have to tend them, but you may not even have to. You might just be able to bed rest them and have them recover. We mine out some more area down to the south, and it's a pretty sizable space. I'm starting to get a little nervous. There's not going to be a really fantastic spot here that I can build a hold in, but we'll just have to make do with what we can. So the tables and chairs are finished. Those chairs take forever, but they are true works of art. Gotrik likes to spend time banging on the drum when he's not constructing stuff. But at this point, we can also use our magic to repair armor versus improving its quality. The trolls are just bananas around here. Jagged Rock's gotten a few magic points, so we've upgraded his magic. We're going to have him see if he can't bring down this troll, but needless to say, it doesn't work. The trolls are very tough, and they heal very fast. And it just is what it is. Also, with the level of wealth we're going to begin reaching to here, it would be wise to have some war machines on hand. So that's what the current research project is going to be. Turtles and boom rats blowing up on the traps, or just getting themselves caught up. The chatting about food is deeply intriguing to me right now. Chatted about Chiefs with Hyena, just looking into how the social thing's going. Gotrik repairs his armor at that point. It's getting pretty worn out, and doesn't make any sense to dispose of that at this point when we can actually make good use of it. And it'll be apparent later on when the Skavens show up just how useful that is. Have a fair amount of critters. We are mostly managing to butcher them all before they spoil. It's kind of a fine line of do some butchering, let them sit for a while the other meat from the previous critter starts deteriorating away, and just sort of trickle them in. Despy falls out of the sky, but Despy happens to not be a great pawn. I decided to take him anyways. Thus far I've taken pretty much everybody who showed up. You can see people are all wearing wizard's hats at this point, except Hayes. He hasn't swapped out of his crappy wizard's hat yet. So we rescue Despy and bring that dude in. And one of the trolls starts killing one of our hens. Just on principle at this point. We have enough people. We're not going to stand for that kind of shit. So we're going to go out there and take these guys down. One of these trolls might be ours, but that one certainly was not. Nor was that one, clearly. And it's his time to go down. That spell's amazing because it makes it real easy to take out any animal, or really any pawn. And the Burning Gaze here. Yep, he's mad now. River Troll Revenge. We're going to keep kicking magic at him. Boom, down he goes. Not such a tough troll after all, are ya? Regardless, set the dudes free. Bring the critters in. We're making a butcher room as well, and then we're going to turn that lower room into a stone cutting room. I don't yet have a ceiling in there, so I can't move my light in there yet, but it'll get there. Regardless, at that point, Despy's up and at him. He is no longer incapable of working. He does decide to join up, so that's fantastic. At some point, we butchered that shellback turtle-looking dude, and we end up with some human-like meat, which probably I shouldn't have done that. Still have a ton of smoothing to do. Since they always focus on floors first, they rarely get to the walls unless you just stop putting in smoothing jobs. So there's that. We did make a masterwork bed for Despy, which is nice. Hare shows up. Not a bad pawn at all, by any means. A little bit of a stab scar, but we can take care of that later too. So another wild person we can't tame. It's been a very common occurrence here. Wild people. Wild dwarfs, wild humans. I'm not sure why. At some point we got to get doing stuff that is actually going to make us some money, but for the moment I'm going to run with floors. And it's also at that moment the Skavens show up again. This time we have way more people to deal with them, but they are also way more numerous per how the game works in terms of generating fucking raids. So you can see they don't show up in rooms I have lighted, which is a valuable thing. We're going to spread some people around to stop them from getting around behind us. And we also don't have a weapon for Despy at this point either. I'm going to try the snare on some of them. They keep walking behind the wall, so I keep canceling it so it doesn't get wasted, because if they lose line of sight, they won't actually cast that spell. Regardless, we do get it off on a few guys down there, and then the fighting starts in earnest. Kaza shows up, thankfully. The people on the sides have no armor, so I try to send some people around. Despy's got nothing but a fist, so he's going to be punching giant rats out. Some of them have really good weapons, so they're dealing with them very well. I try to focus on the bigger Skaven, because they're the ones that do the most damage when they actually get into combat with you. You can see the dudes with the red on. They're the problem. We got magic going off. We're holding the hallways. Despy's not doing so well either, but I'm going to send Hyena over. She has a little axe. Jagged rock at that point goes down, so we have to throw Kaza in. But once again, the dwarfs will prevail over the filthy rat men, at least this time, despite the drag out of the fight. We gotta stay focused with keeping the magic firing too while we can. Yeah, Cuthram and Despy end up holding the hallway decently. Turns out you have to block the whole thing, and you can't be at an intersection unless you have 4 people. You have to block every every way they can get through, or else they will. Some of the smaller rats can easily sneak through. We've left Jagged Rock over there. Probably we should rescue that dude. Now the next problem is, where's his bedroom and can they get to it? It is over on the left there, so it's not going to be a problem. And the battle continues. We throw Kaza in there. Despy, Cuthram. We got to rescue the other dude that went down. Jagged Rock and Blackstone. Despy's down too. It's getting to be a tough situation over here. And there's a whole lot of bleeding going on. I need to just switch everybody into attack mode, because right now you see people fleeing periodically if they're not drafted, which I'm not a big fan of. Regardless, Jagged Rock, we do end up getting everybody brought in. Now the question is, can we keep everybody alive? Almost everybody's bleeding at the moment. Plus we still got to take out their stupid little tunnels before more of them show up. Cuthram's got a really badass axe. It's perfect for smashing shit. I do have to let him go get himself tended though, lest he croak. A little bit of manual interaction. If this teaches me one thing, it's that I desperately need a prison. Not a prison, a hospital. Let's go with that. Because at some point, it's just too much effort running around, getting medicine, coming back, trying to get everybody tended before they croak. So we do end up taking out the last of the tunnels. That does give us a fair amount of special Skaven lights we can sprinkle around for free light. It only lasts 40 days from the day they spawn, but that's better than nothing, right? Thus far, they haven't breached my feasting hall, which is typically what the Skaven will try to do when they infest. Get in there and try and attack, but anyway. A lot of work to do with the cleanup now. It always kind of puts things on hold, but everybody did get tended at least, so may have taken a few toe bites that resulted in the absence of said toe, but regardless of that, we're also going to make a room for burning carcasses over there. I'm going to buy a flame gun. I swear I did at one point, but maybe I just thought about it and didn't have the money or something like that. I do have a room over there for storing apparel in across the hall from where we're making the apparel. I was going to put it into the apparel room, but there's just not enough space at this point. We have so much stuff laying around. The butcher room turned out real nice, and all the smoothing got done over there. I shifted a bunch of crap around. Even made a little space for storing all the blocks we're making in the stone cutting room. We did have some of those rats rot before we could butcher them up, which isn't terribly surprising. And we are sitting on a mountain of wood right now, too. Again, a mountain of bodies. We got to do something about that. Maybe some incendiaries of some type. You have another inspiration, which is just fine, no doubt, due to probably catharsis. At that point, we do get raided, and they are Skyfallers, and it is outcasts, so there are some dwarves and some beastmen, all manner of races sprinkled in there. We are still, to some degree, injured from the last battle, but they do, at that point, decide to go after the Mournfang that self-tended a while ago, so we're going to do what we can to see if we can't drop a few of those fools. And then take the last one down with the magic and let the poor Mournfang escape. I was really hoping to have that dude as a mount at some point. There's still quite a few of them running around starting fires. I'm holding back because I really don't want to get killed. We do have 2 castings of the gold statue spell, and the first one actually succeeds, so that'll give us an extra 500 gold. I'm going to try the same thing with the other guy, and sure as shit, that's 1,000 extra gold right there, people. We just deconstruct those statues, and boom. Now, the statues themselves are worth $10,000. The gold that you get from them, you get 500 per statue. So, these dicks, it's so frustrating. They just want to go around and fucking start fires. We do try to focus on their ranged troops with our magic to see if we can bring them down. Jagged Rock's got a slight issue with this eyeball, but we're going to keep on focusing on the magic and put the melee people in the front. Again, we need some magic. This Camper Gordo guy has a really awesome set of armor and an awesome weapon. Now, one thing that we do have the capacity to do is repair damaged armor, which will remove taint. So, If we can bring him down, that'd be pretty fantastic. He's got to have some kind of magic abilities. I believe he did get killed. Well, Kazo was happy about it anyway. The fires ravage the crops. They do, at that point, decide to flee. And since they have shit for brains, they're going to flee down the trap corridor to get out of here. I debate on keeping some of these guys, but in the end, we just put them all down via a finish off command. We just have our hands full. I think I even have an extra bedroom at this point down at the south end of the hold, but anyway, we decide to strip as well, because if they do have decent apparel on, there's no reason not to. So, a couple freaking days of rebuilding, replanting is all in order. Plague has struck, but not to a massive degree, just on the animals. But still, you eat through a shit ton of medicine in these biomes. I really wish I would have chosen somewhere colder, but here we are. I've got all those Skaven lights spread around nicely, and that hammer that dude left us is going to be fantastic. Should figure out where his armor is. I did forget to strip that dude and take that off him for repair. I just need to get a spot and set up tainted armor. Gonna go in terms of research for great weaponry. It'd be nice if we had everybody very well equipped. So shields, massive weapons. You get it. The stuff that smashes heads but keeps our people safe. Ideally. Anyway, I love you guys. That was fun. Please leave me a like. I'll see you next time.